The NFL playoffs are as high stakes as it gets, but for every hero made, there's a new villain.
I'm going to challenge Jalen Hurts in that pass game. How sharp is it?
There's gonna be someone to blame. So today, let's take a look at every NFL playoff team by seed and try to spot the player that we know will cost them the game when the chips are down. NFC, Detroit Lions, Amik Robertson, CB. As well as Amik Robertson played against Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings in Week 18, we have serious cause for concern for him once the postseason rolls around. Detroit has struggled through a number of painful injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but that's heightening the pressure here. Don't be shocked if teams go after Robertson over and over and over again, and that being the factor that ends up costing Detroit a game come playoff time. Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, QB. Jalen Hurts, the dynamic leader of the Philadelphia Eagles, has had his share of ups and downs this season. While his athleticism and playmaking abilities are absolutely undeniable, there have been moments where his decision-making has come into question. All it'll take is one ill-fated interception or a couple of overthrown wide receivers, and Hurts could end up costing his team a playoff game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, KJ Britt, LB. KJ Britt, stepping into a more prominent role within the Buccaneers defense, has faced challenges this season in terms of getting up to speed and playing within the system. The Buccaneers defense, Todd Bowles' calling card, has actually shown vulnerabilities, and more often than not, at the center of it is KJ Britt.
I mean, we're confident in KJ, but at the same time, we need to make more tackles. I thought our zone drops and our tackling weren't very good. And that's where we kind of got behind the 8 ball.
Los Angeles Rams, Cooper Kupp, WR. Battling injuries and inconsistencies, Kupp's production has dipped, leaving the Rams offense yearning for its glory days gone by. Of course, his experience and playmaking capabilities are invaluable if he can tap into them. But if not, there could be trouble because the Rams offense needs Kupp to take the pressure off their new number 1 guy. Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold, QB. There is no denying that Sam Darnold has orchestrated a masterful comeback in his NFL career with the Vikings this year. After all, his career was in many ways on life support, held up only by the coaching tree of Kyle Shanahan. But now, he's getting viewed as a bona fide franchise quarterback. Which, dang, that's pretty crazy to think about. No one would have predicted this coming into the year. But in any case, just because he's made this glorious turnaround does not mean that he was able to banish all the ghosts that tortured him early on in his career. I mean, just think what we saw out of him in Week 18 against the Detroit Lions with a division crown on the line. Darnold shrank in a major way.
Look at Sam Darnold. He looked incredibly rattled. Clearly his worst game of the year. And when is that worst game of the year? With a division crown on the line.
Now, don't get us wrong. We're rooting for this Cinderella story to have a happy ending, but Darnold has given us major reason for concern down the stretch of the season, and based on his long-standing love affair with the untimely interception, I wouldn't be shocked to see him bear the brunt of the blame in a potential Vikings loss. At the end of the day, the Vikings' postseason success hinges on Sam and his capacity to maintain poise under pressure and make sound decisions. A repeat of his struggles against the Lions could spell disaster, abruptly ending the Vikings' wild 2024 run. Washington Commanders, Marshawn Lattimore, CB. Marshawn Lattimore's midseason acquisition was heralded as a strategic move to fortify the Washington Commanders' secondary. However, his tenure has been marred by nagging injuries. A particularly troubling performance against the Philadelphia Eagles saw Lattimore flagged for 3 defensive pass interference penalties in a single quarter. It also increases the likelihood that he gets burned by the opposing wideout for a big play. And this isn't even factoring in the chance that Lattimore finds himself involved in some hot-headed altercation and gets a penalty that either costs Washington the game, or at the very least, swings the momentum in a major way. Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, QB. Jordan Love, the Packers' signal caller, has already proven in spades that he is a franchise quarterback, as evidenced by his massive extension. But let's face it, his brilliance and the excitement of Packers fans has been a bit tempered by bouts of inconsistency. Worsening the scenario for the people of Green Bay is injuries that have plagued his season, raising concerns about his durability and readiness for playoff intensity. And of course, let us not forget Love's propensity for throwing interceptions, which, has been very alarming. It just feels like in one way or another, Love will end up costing Green Bay when it matters the most this year. AFC, Kansas City Chiefs, Jawan Taylor, LT. Truly, it is the offensive line as a whole that we're really concerned about, as it could certainly likely be the Achilles heel for Kansas City in the postseason. But if we had to single out just one guy, it would be Jawan Taylor, as his play has been the most inconsistent throughout the year, and with some pretty low troughs too, as opposing pass rushers have generated a large chunk of their pressure against the Chiefs through Taylor. There's reason to put faith in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, no doubt about that, but when the rubber meets the road, they might hit the same obstacle that they did in 2020 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, and Taylor will be the guy that most are pointing their fingers at. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, QB. Josh Allen is undeniably one of the league's most dynamic quarterbacks, capable of making jaw-dropping plays with both his arms and his legs. However, his aggressive play style sometimes leads to costly turnovers, especially in high-pressure situations. And when the playoffs roll around, Josh is all the more excitable, and has, at times, had big issues taking care of the football. The Bills team has been playing very sound football, particularly down the stretch. As long as Allen protects the football, they should be in good shape, but still, that's a pretty big if. Baltimore Ravens, Justin Tucker, kicker. Justin Tucker, for decades, was the Ravens' ace kicker, and hailed as the NFL's most reliable leg, perhaps in history. The guy's track record in clutch situations is nearly impeccable, but let's face it, even the best can have an off day, especially when they get up in age. And in Tucker's case, it seems like every day is an off day now, as his best days are clearly behind him performance-wise. For Baltimore, a missed field goal or extra point from Tucker could easily be a game changer, swinging momentum to the opposition or even costing them in the final minutes of competition. The Ravens are banking on Tucker finding his lost form, but they might end up mighty bitter with how he's looked thus far in 2024.
Simply as I can put it, I miss the kicks, and I'll leave it at that. I just left the points out there. I feel like I cost us this one.
Houston Texans, Joe Mixon, RB. Joe Mixon, the Texans' lead back, has been a workhorse throughout his career, known for his ability to grind out tough yards and wear down defenses. However, this season has been, a bit of a mixed bag for Mixon. While he's had more than a few good performances and even some monster games, there have been games where his production has dipped, raising a lot of concerns about his consistency. And that is a major concern for the Texans, who have really needed him to balance out this year. So if Mixon falters, that could spell doom for Houston this postseason. Los Angeles Chargers, Joshua Palmer, WR. Joshua Palmer, thrust into the spotlight as the Chargers' de facto WR1, has had his moments, both memorable and, miserable. While he's certainly shown an ability to get separation deep, there are times when his hands seem to have a mind of their own, especially when the game's on the line. Picture this: a crucial third down in the playoffs. Justin Herbert launches a perfect spiral and, whoops, the ball slips through Palmer's fingers like a bar of soap in the shower. Yeah, it's the kind of play that has fans pulling their hair out and defensive backs thanking the football gods. If Palmer doesn't tighten up his grip, both literally and figuratively, the Chargers' postseason could be shorter than Jim Harbaugh is hoping for. Pittsburgh Steelers, George Pickens, WR. George Pickens is a dynamic playmaker, capable of turning routine catches into explosive gains. And he and Russell Wilson have surprisingly formed a nice little odd couple this season, as Pickens' athleticism and catch radius make him a favorable target in clutch situations. But you don't gotta be an NFL insider to know that Pickens has a bit of a temper, and probably a bevy of other emotional issues. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, we wouldn't be shocked to see Pickens get a senseless penalty or take an untimely playoff and send the Steelers' Super Bowl dreams crashing into pieces.
George Pickens basically lost them the game tonight because he was awful.
Denver Broncos, Bo Nix, QB. In the unforgiving environment of the NFL playoffs, the margin for error is slim. Bo Nix has done a super impressive job in 2024 stepping in as the Broncos' starting quarterback, and there's no doubt that he has demonstrated flashes of brilliance with his mobility and arm strength. But, hey, just saying, this is a rookie quarterback in the NFL playoffs that we're talking about. And Nix only makes matters worse with his tendency to make questionable decisions under pressure. With the higher stakes and pressure of the postseason, do not be shocked to see some of the hero plays that Nix loves to try end up resulting in turnovers that cost the Broncos in a close game. But hey, which player is most likely to lose a game for your favorite playoff team? Who do you think we're right on? Who do you think we're wrong about? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.